Welcome to a new week of Chasing Greatness. I'm so glad you joined us for today's episode. Not just today, this whole week. I'm fired up about what we're going to be talking about. We're actually going to be talking about problems this week or circumstances. And I've been around so many leaders in the last couple of weeks who are just buried in just some hard stuff. And I'm going to share with you some things that I think will help you regain some perspective if you find things are hard in the current season that you're in. It is just a season. I think you'll find some things that will remind you of that are going to be helpful to you if you have any kind of hard circumstances in your life. And if you're a leader or if you just have a life, really, you got hard stuff going on in some areas. And so I think this is going to be a great week. Welcome to Chasing Greatness, the podcast where we help you win at work, win at home, and ultimately win at life. We're going to talk about some of that this week. It's going to be good. Thank you so much for helping us spread the word. We just hit 20,000 downloads. We're fired up about that. That's awesome. Keep helping us as you share this content with others. If you got comments, leave those. Love to hear your questions. Anything you got going on, that'd be awesome. Let's jump in this week as we think about winning at work. We always talk about that on Mondays, and I got a question for you. Does your team, I'm guessing you are a part of some kind of team at some level in your workplace. Does your team have a dream? Does your team have a dream? I heard a leader say this last week, don't give up on your dream. And most of the people who listen to this are not just dreaming alone. They've got people around them. They're leading. They're trying to help others win. You know, we talk about that when we say chasing greatness is not just about us being great, but helping the people around us be great. And we gather these people around us. We're trying to win together, and we end up with a team. And in the last couple of years, obviously things have been difficult. They've been different. They've been remote. There's just all kind of stuff going on that we're not used to experiencing maybe in the workplace. And what I've noticed is there are some teams that I'm around. It feels like they've given up on their dreams a little bit. They've lost sight of what they're really trying to do. So today I want to spend just a few minutes and get you to think about your own work. What is it that you really would love to see happen? You've been saying it for years, or you've been thinking it for years. You know there's greatness in you. You know there's possibility. You know there's a project or an idea or a business that you want to start. Something big that's important to you, and maybe you've just waned a little bit on going after that. And I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I want your work, your team to be the place where dreams come true, not a place where dreams die or dreams go to die. So let's think about that. I've been inspired the last few weeks by Little St. Peter's basketball team in the NCAA tournament. You know, they just kept winning. And that was pretty amazing that I think they were the first team, the first 15 seed to make it as far as they have. And I just love the spirit of their coach and their team. I heard them after their win. I guess it was a week or so ago where they won to advance to the Elite Eight. And the coach said after the game, what are they saying now? What do you say about us now? It's like we believed in ourselves. We didn't forget. And yet everybody around us gave us no chance. And you may be in a spot where the people around you are doubting, and it's caused you to start doubting. And truthfully, if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to really have a hard time. So when we talk about this idea of vision, we talk about it a lot here. I don't think a team can be great. I don't think a leader can be great without a vision. Leaders take people from here to there. They see problems, obstacles, and they build strategies and teams and structures to help them achieve those things that are really possible. And yet, if we lose sight of that, we don't even understand like what we're up against, that we've lost perspective, we've lost our sense of destiny, I think it can be very dangerous. So I want to ask you some questions today, and then I want to give you a little bit of a warning today, because I think there's some things that can get in the way of the possibilities in our life. But I want us to back up and start there and ask you to imagine the possibilities. Go back and imagine the possibilities. When you're a kid, anything felt possible. When you're a little guy or little girl there as you were growing up, you had these dreams, you had these things that you wanted to accomplish, and then life sort of gets in the way, people get in the way, circumstances get in the way, and we begin to give up. And so I want to ask you today to let's just take a few minutes this week, and we're just going to spend a minute here, but I want you to imagine the possibilities. In fact, you might choose the biggest current challenge that you're facing right now, And you might even write that down if you're not driving, or if you're in a spot where you can pick up a pen and write this down. What is the biggest challenge you're currently facing? I want you to write that down, and I want you to look at it. And I want you to ask yourself a question. What's going to be different 3 months from now as it relates to that challenging circumstance that you're in? On Friday, we're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to give you some life perspective on that. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to share that with you. But today, as you look at that problem, so what is the challenge in front of you, and what are the possibilities? And here's some ways to think about it. I'll give you a little list. You might even jot these down if you have a chance. So what needs to be awakened in you as it relates to that problem? And I mean, have you just literally lost a sense of you have some control over this problem? Maybe it's a circumstance you don't have control over, but chances are you've got something in front of you. You do have some control. You have control over your attitude, if nothing else. You have control over your work ethic. You have control over your effort level, what kind of energy you're bringing to it, your passion, your enthusiasm. What needs to be reawakened in you? Maybe it's just gone to sleep, and it's not dead, it's just dormant. And so I would challenge you to awaken that as you look at your issue. It doesn't have to be the way it is if you have some control over it. So if there's a spot there, let's let that wake up here in us. Okay, here's the second question. What could you create? Is there something that you could create to help you overcome what it is that's there? Maybe a new project, maybe a new initiative, maybe some innovation, maybe you get a group of people around and you brainstorm some possibilities. You don't have to imagine the possibilities on your own. You've got some people around you that might be able to help you do that. Is there something you could promote? Is there an initiative that could be put in place to help this problem or challenge come to the ground? Again, you'll have to connect your own dots, but chances are there's some things that you could do to make sure that you make progress on this thing. You don't just stay stuck with your dream dead. Is there something you could build? Is there a new team, a structure that is not in place to help you with this, a problem solving method? I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm just guessing if you've just given up and just said, I'll never get out of this. This will always, have us, or are you just yielded to this is just the way things are? That's not the way great leaders think, or people that are chasing greatness. They don't think this way. They really show up and they think, how can we unleash our best, our passion, our energy, everything we have against what is we're against? And so you don't want to be, you've heard me say this before, if you listen, you don't want to be teamed up with your emotions, teamed up with your circumstances, and you have to battle both your emotions and your problem. And so many times our problem gets bigger because we forfeit our emotions to our problem, and now it's 2-on-1, our emotions and our problem against us, and it is a helpless feeling at that point. So you get to take that back, and is there something you need to unleash on this problem? And just that mindset of you are just going to bring fury to what it is you're up against. So I think that's a really good list of questions, things that I need to think about. Now, I want to give you a little warning here, and I would say it this way. The things I want to share with you here just the next couple minutes, these are possibility killers. I mean, these are going to kill your dream. They're going to kill your possibility. They're literally going to keep you paralyzed and at a place where you lack progress. So here's the first one. I find all the time, I talk to people all the time, it's a fear of failure. There's so many people that they get in a spot, they lose perspective, and they literally stay stuck because they're afraid if they try something, if they do something, it might still fail. And failure gets in the way of dreams all the time. And so do you have a spot in your life where you are afraid right now? Fear is like courage. It's the opposite of courage in a way, but fear grows just like courage does. If you flex your courage muscle, your courage gets stronger. If you allow fear to dominate your thinking, your fear is going to get stronger. And so don't let that. Here's another one. Maybe it's kind of tied to fear of failure, but it's your past performance. If you've struggled in the past in an area, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong, and you just think, well, I lost before, I'll probably lose again. I remember when I first started coaching sports teams. I was a coach about 30 years ago. When I first started coaching, I did this a couple of times, but I inherited what I would call a losing program. And that drives me crazy to think that we would just lose because we've always lost. That it doesn't have to be that way. And I learned something very early on, and I already knew this, but it just got ingrained even more, is losing is a habit, just like winning is a habit. And the winning programs, actually, one of the things that becomes their competitive advantage is their past performance. And one of the things that can really hold us back if we're struggling is the fact that we don't feel like we've done well in the past. And you can change that narrative. So I want to challenge you to not give in to the lie of, because you struggled in the past, that you're not going to do well in the future. Here's another one. Negative thinking is a possibility killer. If you have people around you that are negative, if you have people around you that are critical, if you have people above you that have expectations that are not realistic, you're going to really struggle to achieve your dreams. And so, are there some places where you've allowed negativity to creep in? Maybe it's on your team. Again, maybe it's one of your coworkers, maybe it's somebody in your family, and you're listening to that negative voice, or maybe it's the voice in your own head. You have negative. Your bent is to be critical and analytical and negative in the way you approach things. If that's the case, it's going to kill your dreams, and we don't want that. So let's make sure that we push that negative thinking to the curb. We're not gonna give credence to that. Tied closely to that is a culture of criticism. It's like negative thinking can become a culture of criticism where everybody there's just never enough. You can't do enough. And that kills our dreams. And that's some of those outside voices too. It might not even be the culture around us. It might be the culture that we choose to participate in. Think about social media. Everybody gets on there and just feels like they can blast everybody, and somebody has an idea. There's always somebody who wants to criticize and tear that down. Turn that off. You don't need to listen to what others think. I just would really challenge you to eliminate a culture of criticism around your life. It's never going to help you get where you want to go. Another possibility killer, let me just kind of state the obvious, because you may be sitting there going, I mean, this is my dream, but I really don't have what I need to go after that dream. And it's a lack of resources. So I understand sometimes we want something that we're not really positioned to have, but is there something you could do to begin to bring those resources around you that will help you ultimately go after that dream? You don't want to give up on your dream just because you don't have a lack of resources now. So many people have achieved unbelievable things who on the front end, they really wouldn't have been able to do that had they not just started by, let's get the resources we need, let's get the support we need, let's get the training we need, the skills we need, whatever we need to go after that. But we're not going to give up on our dream just because we don't have the resources for it now. And then sometimes our dreams die because we have challenging competition. We're up against something that we really are not ever going to be capable of defeating. Now, let me sort of give you an idea here. So what can you do? That's my question. Like, what can you do? Not what can your competition do? So I remember when I was years ago, I mentioned coaching. I was coaching girls basketball, and we lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Pat Summitt was the coach of the Lady Vols, and I was a coach of a local high school girls basketball team. Now, we were really good against the level of competition we played, but we would have had we wouldn't even have been able to score against the Lady Vols. They were national champions. We were region champions. They were national champions. The difference there was like crazy as far as talent goes and coaching goes as well. Pat, one of the best to ever coach at any level, man or woman. And I was not Pat. And yet if we would have just said, well, we could never compete with them, or just if you play to the level of your competition rather than what are you capable of? What can you do? And as you think about it right now, your competition may not be the business down the street or the person on your team that you're competing with for a promotion or whatever it is you feel like you're competing with from the outside. Your competition literally, if the way I think about it is, my competition is me. Your competition is complacency. Your competition can be your past performance, but it also can be your past success. You rest on your success and you don't stay hungry for how good can you be. So I want to make sure that we understand that complacency and pride and arrogance, even success, there's all kinds of things that can become our rival. And if you're not careful, you'll think it's the outside competition, but really what you're battling is yourself. And if you can beat you won't have any problem reaching your full potential and getting to where you want to go. So when we think about our dreams, again, this week, as we think about winning at work, Does your team have a dream? Do you have a dream? Did you have a dream and now your dream maybe it's not dead, but it is asleep. It needs to be awakened. You need to be unleashed on that. You need to build something, promote something. Renew your dream. Don't give up on your dream. There really is greatness in you. You have a chance to unleash that on the world. And if you'll do that, I'm just certain not only will you get better, the people around you are going to benefit as well. But there's going to be some things that are going to come against you. Fear and criticism, negativity, competition, all that stuff, past performance. If we're not careful, we'll just give up on our dreams because of things around us. They just seem too hard. So we're going to win at work this week. We're going to chase our dreams this week, and your team's going to benefit from that, and so are you. So let's keep chasing greatness this week. On Wednesday, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to kind of build on this and talk to you about some things that happen at home that are seasonal, and we get this narrative in our mind if we're not careful. I've got some stuff I think will really help you. And then on Friday, I'm going to break down a few verses from the Bible that I've just been reading, and they've hit me. And I think if you're up against some hard circumstances, I'm going to share with you some stuff on Friday. It's going to be some real wisdom here that I think is really going to help your life get a whole lot better if you're in one of those seasons where things are hard right now. I know they're hard in some area. You wrote it down earlier. So let's keep making sure we're pulling that down to the ground. We're gonna prevail this week if we will do what we can do. We'll keep chasing greatness. All right, love you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday.